Attention SMP artists, are you looking to take your business to the next level? It's time to fully systemize your studio for growth with the ultimate sales and marketing platform for SMP artists, HighLead. With HighLead, you get everything that you need to save time and effortlessly generate more consultations and bookings on autopilot. And guess what? HighLead is not just a system, but also one of the largest Google ad agencies in the world for SMP professionals. Imagine having a marketing strategy that's tailor-made for the SMP industry, driving high-quality leads right to your studio. Say goodbye to the struggle of finding the latest marketing trend. HighLead has you covered. Invested into your training? Check. Invested into your equipment and studio setup? Check. Now it's time to invest into your marketing strategy. Don't risk your marketing budget on anything else until you've experienced HighLead's growth system and Google Ads services. Visit GoHighLead.com today to book a free demo now and join the hundreds of SMP artists who've embraced HighLead to thrive in their businesses. On the free no-obligation demo call, a member of HighLead's team will answer all of your questions and help you unlock the potential of your SMP studio by getting you more bookings. Visit GoHighLead.com today.
Yo, if you're a tattooer, tattoo shop, or even a distributor, and you're looking to elevate your business, keep watching. Richie Bulldog here, founder of Hustle Butter. And if you don't know us, that's crazy. Hustle Butter is a premium line of tattoo products designed for in-process and is aftercare. Hustle Butter was created with the best artists in the world, so you know it's a top quality product. Artists love it, clients love it, everybody loves it. And the best part is you could sell Hustle Butter for a profit by becoming an authorized wholesaler. Now let me tell you why you should sign up today. Reduced pricing. Our authorized wholesalers get unbeatable prices on all of our Hustle Butter products. Use the product for yourself or sell it to your clients. You won't find these prices this good anywhere else. Extra revenue. You can sell our products to your clients for a profit, using that extra cash to help with the rent, business expenses, or anything you may need. Artists and shops around the world are selling Hustle Butter every single day. Dedicated support. You'll get assigned a dedicated Hustle Butter rep that you can reach out to anytime. They can help you learn about different products, assist with ordering, and more. No chatbots here, bro. $40 off your very first order. Try out our new products or subsidize your first order with our $40 credit. $40, that's sick. It only takes 60 seconds or less to sign up. Yeah, I told you it was easy. All you have to do is apply on our website, hustlebutter.com, under wholesale. It takes no more than 1 minute. Apply today, get connected to a dedicated Hustle Butter rep, and start making extra money. We're here to help today, tomorrow, and forever. You can't knock the hustle.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Scalp Solutions Podcast. Today, I'm joined by an artist who's mastered one of the boldest styles in SMP, Tobias Romero. Tobias took home the Best Hard Hairline Award at last year's Meeting of the Minds, earning recognition for his precision and his bold approach to the hard hairline design. Before dominating the SMP world, Tobias had a different path, and today we're going to dive into that journey. We'll also explore his thoughts on the growing trend of artists projecting flashy lifestyles and how that might be shaping the perception of the SMP industry. Tobias is here to keep it real, so let's get into it. Welcome on to the podcast, Tobias
David, I
Romero.
can't express how excited I am to be here. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. And thank you for giving back to the industry. I know it's not easy to put these things together, and I know you got a busy schedule yourself. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, brother, for taking out some time to jump on the podcast and chat. I know we recently got to meet in person for the first time in New York City, and it was a very it was a very funny introduction, but I'm glad it was done because I don't think this would be happening. You wouldn't want to participate. You wouldn't have been my friend. You were like, F Dave, we won't get into that. We'll let the listeners like create their own little suspense and controversy over it, but that it does make for a really good story. But we're not going to talk about that. We're here for you today, and we're going to highlight you. So Tobias, first off, congratulations on winning the Best Hard Hairline Award. What does that kind of recognition mean for you and your
First
career?
off, thank you. Thank you for your kind words, just recognizing me, because what it does is it offers a sense that I'm going in the right direction. You know, I put my heart and soul into Scout Micro, and for the longest time, I wasn't necessarily seeing a return. So earning gold this year at Meeting of the Minds kind of offers some sort of sense that I'm heading in the right direction, that I'm doing the right thing, that my heart's in the right place. So after quite some time of not necessarily kind of being, how do I put this? I don't know. It's just like SMP wasn't necessarily something. I hear all these glamorous stories about how people got involved in SMP, and I've been doing it since 2017, but it hasn't necessarily been so glamorous for me. So earning this award kind of is just, I don't know if you've seen the video of me. I kind of just, almost like just exhausted myself. It was a big sigh of relief, almost like it was a race that I had been running, and it's finally I crossed the finish line. So it just felt so good, man. It was humbling, and I'm just happy. I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to talk with you and just share my experiences with you, man.
I remember that vividly of all, and I'm not saying this because I'm talking to you right now. I remember you winning the award very vividly, the most of any of the other winners. Because I remember one, we were sitting at the same table. So I know when they called you up, you were excited. But when they announced your name, like I could see like that energy that you released, bro. Like you must have been, because I remember smiling, bro, and going, damn, like my man
Yeah.
needed that. Like he needed that. Like he was up there like, yo, I'm not going back home. Like I gotta get this W. So I understand, like, cause I saw it. Like you visually like expressed, like you went,
Yes.
oh
It was a
man, like
release of pressure, just a
yeah,
release.
baby.
Like I
Like
just had so much built up.
it's like we
Yes.
back, baby. He's like, we back. Yeah, it's on now. That was awesome, brother. It was great to see you win, man. So, before you even got into SMP, bro, like what were you doing professionally? What was it that inspired you to even make the transition into this
My
industry?
first passion is traditional barbering. My grandfather was a barber in Juarez, Mexico. One of the biggest photos that I have, or one of the biggest things that I cherish, one of my treasures, so to speak, is a photo of me and him. Ultimately, the first photo is him cutting my hair when I was 7 years old, and then the other photo of me cutting his hair when he was 92 years old.
Ah,
Um, so to
that's
answer your
awesome.
question, traditional barbering is what really catapulted to me into my newfound passion. Not necessarily newfound, but my new passion of SMP, and what really directed me into having more of a hard hairline style. Now, I'm not saying that that's my only style or the only type of hairline that I like to perform, but it's one of my favorites. And I think it's one of my favorites because of that first passion of traditional barbering.
Hard hairlines required like some bold precision, right? And I think that there obviously, and I know you're gonna agree, like there's so many misconceptions on how to achieve a
Absolutely.
hard hairline. You know, some artists think, you know what, I'm just gonna dot the lines across and fill that shit in. That's a hard
Mhm.
hairline for me, right? How did you develop your technique and what is it that drew you? I understand you come from a barbering background. I'm a barber myself. It's kind of like second nature to us. But what drew you to specialize in that style? Because see, I know how to do the hard hairlines because I've done hairlines for over 20 years. But I enjoy doing like the natural hairlines more. What is it that drew you to say, you know what, I want to focus on the hard hairlines. I'm gonna put myself into hard hairline competitions.
In all honesty, David, it wasn't by choice. It was just something that kind of happened. And I say it happened because at the time I was working with Good Look Inc. as a traveling artist. I'd work alongside Dr. Jesnick at the Maxim Hair Transplant Center located in the Galleria. And in my opinion, the population in Houston, the culture, the clientele, majority of them really preferred that hard hairline. So it wasn't necessarily something that I focused on or I chose to focus on. It was just something that kind of happened. A lot of the clientele that I seen out there were really adamant on that hard hairline and really picky on that. So I feel that I really had an opportunity to kind of not to master the hard hairline working with Good Looking alongside Dr. Jesnick. So it was just by chance.
Got you. So it was a cultural demand, right? This is what they want. So you kind of like you have in New York, you have in New York problems over there. It's like everybody wants a
Absolutely.
hard
And I'm not
hairline,
saying that
right?
every client was a hard hairline, but the majority of them were more of a linear aggressive approach. And having that barbering background really kind of made me take to that approach a little bit more than the natural hairline. Now, after learning that mastering that hard hairline, I've really gotten to like the natural, more softer ones lately. So my next goal next year is to really focus on those softer ones and really compete with that next year at Meeting of the Minds.
Got you. Now, did you find like were there some key challenges when you're executing a hard hairline, right? Because like I said, they sound right, and if you don't know any better from the outside looking in, oh, this is simple. I'm just doing a line. But how is it that you ensure that it still looks natural and fitting to the client?
That's a great question. So I'm gonna kind of give you some free game in addition to answering your question. So
Oh, he's giving out free games, folks. Free
ultimately,
game.
I really like to kind of take a holistic approach to SMP. When I say holistic approach, when the client comes in for their consult, not only am I evaluating their Fitzpatrick, their hair type, skin type, things of that nature, but I'm also trying to get a feel for who they are culturally. Not only culturally, but where they are in terms of their age.
Mhm.
You know, a linear, super linear, sharp hairline may be more appropriate for somebody that's on the latter part of that Fitzpatrick scale, and a younger person that's on that latter part of that Fitzpatrick scale. So what I like to do is I like to really kind of feel the client, and I know that seems a bit cliche, but I have to feel who they are. So once I feel who they are culturally, I kind of identify where they are on that Fitzpatrick scale, and then I also see where they're at in age. So with that hard hairline, there's variations. It's not always super linear, super crisp. Oftentimes, I like to break it up if they're older, say if they're 40, 50. I like to break up that linear look, but still ensuring that we're in the realm of expectations on that Fitzpatrick scale. So with that Fitzpatrick scale, oftentimes 1 through 3, a natural look is more appropriate, but 3 to the latter part of that scale, that linear approach is culturally what these people are used to. So I really like to bring up this Fitzpatrick scale, not only for hairline design, but pigment selection. I'm not going to use the same pigment that I would on an African American gentleman that I would on a Caucasian gentleman. So this Fitzpatrick scale is key. And I like to use it because it offers a bit of a check and balance. Now, I'm in Colorado. Some of these lighter Caucasians, they come in, they're like, "Hey, Tobias, I'm from the hood. I've known you since, way back. I want a lineup, bro. But you're super light, And I'm like, what is that going to look like when you're 70? So, although I like to do or I favor these hard hairlines, I really like to utilize them in the right senses. I don't like to put these hairlines on people that it's not appropriate for. So really feeling these people when they come in for that consult, who they are. Who are they outside of your office? What are they doing outside of your office? Who do they hang out with? I feel that a lot of all these things come into play when choosing the hairline, not only when it hard hairline, but even on the softer ones, and know that there's variations. It's not necessarily cut and dry. So I really like to feel who they are. And on that free game component, I do something called hairline simulation. Now, this is something that I generally charge for, but for the listeners, I want to give them an opportunity to learn something, to take something for this to be valuable. So I do something called hairline simulation. Some of these other artists you may have seen doing it, but ultimately what I do is I spray hair fibers on the top of their head. I'll put a bit of freeze spray, which is essentially like a super hard hairspray. I'll throw a little dash of it and then I'll use the hair fibers. And what I do is I line them up with the machine. What that does is it gives them a visual representation of where that hairline is going to lay, and it gives us an opportunity for us to be picky. I tell them like, you know what? We're going to spend a good amount of time on our first session on hairline design. I encourage you to bring your wife, your significant other, anybody that you value their opinion, because that is the most important aspect of the hard hairline. And so out the gate, I like to feel who they are, and I really like to spend the time creating that hairline, giving them a visual representation of where it's going to lie, and then giving them an opportunity there for their loved one, their spouse, whoever they value, to kind of chime in and give their input. I have a lot to say. I apologize. I'm just bursting at the seams, David.
Oh, it's all good, man. He's like, I've been waiting for this moment. Nah, listen, hairline. I love doing hairline simulations. I feel like that's one of the things that we bring over with us, from the barbering world. Like it's such a gem. I'm always advocating that. And when people tell me, they was like, "Yo, what do you do on your consultations, man? Like, what are you doing to close them?" I'm like, "Bro, hairline simulation, bro. Like, what better way than to show them what they could potentially look like with SMP. You know what I mean? That's a flex. That's the ultimate flex, I think, for me. When they see themselves and they got that smile, I already know, like, yeah, he's done, bro. First session,
Absolutely.
sign him up. He's
Absolutely. And
going in.
out the gate, when you do that
Now,
hairline simulation, I feel like it gains the confidence of the client. Oftentimes, like in Houston, they'd come in, or clients would come in, and I feel like there's also a cultural aspect to the practitioner. If the culture, if the practitioner can identify them with them on a cultural level, how are they going to perform a linear hairline that's appropriate for them, that they understand, that they get, that they like? So I also feel that there's a cultural component
yeah.
to it as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That plays. You m- just mentioned something so key, and it's kind of like, if I don't understand the culture, how could I possibly tell you or put something on you that's gonna fit appropriate to that culture? And with that being said, a hard hairline is not just a hard hairline, right? There's different
Variations.
types of hard hairlines, right? How do you use like the same, like your same system of, like, feeling them out and bonding with the client to determine which hairline you're going to give them? And what I mean by that, for those that are listening, right? Because I don't want to get too much, like, we understand this talk as barbers, right? We know that there's different hard hairlines. You got that hard hairline that looks incredibly crispy. There's no scalp showing at all. Like, it's incredible, like it's saturated, it's dark, something that is going to resemble almost like what you have. But luckily, you're fortunate if you have
Yeah, yeah.
hair up
I,
there,
I
you know
I
what I
have a
mean?
little
So, like,
combination of the both.
how do you choose that? You got I got
And
a
a whole lot
combination.
of paint.
You got
And
a
a
little
whole lot of
density
paint.
fill.
That's
And
why
then
it looks black there.
I appreciate the transparency, bro. That's a barber flex there. But yeah, how do you determine which hard hairline to give
You
them?
kind of chimed on it. Ultimately, like I said, I like to fill them on out. But another important aspect is having their significant other or anybody that they value, having them come in and chime along in that design process as well is key. So I feel like it's a holistic approach, not only me with my experience, but what the client wants, in addition to what their family, their spouse, their loved one wants. It's a holistic approach. So I'm big on having their significant other, their wives, spouses, whomever it is, come in with them during their appointment, especially on their first one, because I'm big on energy. When I say I'm big on energy, I have to have clear communication. If we all have clear communication between the client, the significant other, anybody that they value their opinion, it has a direct effect on the work. So when they come on in, I'm big on energy. I want it smelling good. I want a candle lit. I want no weird vibes. And so with that being said, it's not necessarily me filling them on out. It's more of an energy, a holistic, it's a multifaceted approach. So to answer your question, it's a bit difficult. It takes me to feel them out, but also hear what their wives, their spouses are saying, and then hear what they want and find that comfortable median within the realm of expectations. It's a bit difficult to do.
Got you. Got you. I like hearing the breakdown, because you took something that has the image in the industry where it's like, well, anybody can do a hard hairline. I hate hearing that shit. Oh yeah, all your work is hard hairlines. Anybody can do a hard hairline. Then it's like, all right, well, then you fucking do it. Let me see your hard hairline. You know what I mean? Like, there's levels to the hard. Right, exactly. It looks like a damn Richter scale. Like, there's levels to the hard hairline. So recently, you've expressed some concerns about some SMP artists that are flaunting a flashy lifestyle. And I remember we had conversations in New York City, and I immediately understood why you expressed these concerns. But can you share some more about what's been bothering you about this trend?
Ooh, that's a kind of get goosebumps even getting asked that question because I take it so personal. I truly believe SMP is the best solution to hair loss. If I didn't believe it, I wouldn't have it myself. So with that being said, when I see these 2 or 3 day trainings, I feel like what it does is it devalues our industry. And when I see something that I care about, something that gives me purpose being devalued, I take it personal. But to take it to a further level, I've had it happen to me. I was originally trained by Bryce Cleveland. Not that I was in it for the money or that was my pure intention, but boy, I thought I was going to be doing fairly well for myself out the gate. And I'm gonna be quite honest with you, David. I haven't seen a return on my investment since this last year. This last year is where I really seen a return on my investment, and my investment has been grand. So I take it personal because when I see somebody advertising this flashy lifestyle, first off, it comes like a drug deal. It comes off like a drug deal. I think Trevor Green, Green y'all out there in Canada, I forget his last name. I apologize on the butchering of that last name, but
You Trevor,
yes,
Trevor, Trevor
yes, yes. I
Greeno.
may have butchered the last name, Trevor. My apologies. But with that being said, we had a brief conversation that some of these artists are treating it like a drug deal, these trainings. And so I take it personal because not only did I fall for it, not fall for it, but went for it. But what it did is it turned me into a sour person. And when I say a sour person, it's like when you have a client come in and they expect solid work, they've done their research, they've done their investigation. When you feel that you're falling short of those expectations, it's easy to become frustrated in yourself. And when you have everyday life, everyday things outside of work going on, and you have that frustration in the back of your mind, it leads to you to being sour, almost like a hater in some senses. And then when you jump on Instagram, everybody's winning. Everybody's doing better than you are. And that's why it bothers me so much because SMP is not a get rich quick scheme. This is something that I put my heart into for the past since 2017. And for me to only have a return in this last year is ludicrous. It's crazy. So I have a lot of advice for these newer artists in terms of how to how to conduct yourself, how to come off, how to be true to who you are and impose that into your approach in SMP. So it's much more than being a hater, being mad that they got the nice Rolex. It's a personal thing. And I could speak more on that personal dilemma that I had within myself. But what it does is it frustrates me even thinking about it. So you'll see me on Facebook. If you're my friend on there, I may actually post some weird memes, or I actually may say little rants and raves and whatnot, but know that it's personal for me. If it wasn't personal, I wouldn't care so much.
I appreciate that transparency, brother, because there are very few artists that would be willing to admit that they haven't had a return on their investment, so late
Oh,
in the game.
I'm
But that
real.
being
I'm
said,
honest.
I also think is necessary because I do see so many artists that are coming on. Well, one, they don't even go anywhere because they realize like, oh shit, I actually have to do work. This is an actual business. I need money for marketing. I need money for an actual office. I need to get a different phone. I need to get an LLC. And it's almost kind of like, as a barber, you can understand this, right? When we first became barbers, it's just kind of like, yo, I want to get that cash, right? And you just start treating it as like, yo, this is just, I can
It's a
just
hustle.
make money. And then you start learning along the way. Exactly. It's a hustle. You start learning along the way. Whoa, 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 wait a minute. Like, this is an actual business. Like, the only way to take it to the next level is to start treating myself with some respect and conducting myself like a professional. That's how I'm going to make it, where the way it's being promoted now, SMP is just kind of like, yo, this is a quick hustle, and it's lacking that
And you gotta
professionalism.
understand, I'm
But
so sorry to interrupt, David, that we're playing with people's
yeah,
livelihoods here. We're playing with people's insecurities. How can you not? want to address those insecurities to the best of your ability. When somebody has worn a hat for the past 20 years, they do not wear anything other than a hat, even if they're at an elegant type of event. You know, why are we going to play with people's livelihoods? This is much more than a haircut. This isn't a pair of blue jeans.
Ever wonder what keeps me focused and energized during long SMP sessions and Scalp Solutions podcast? It's Wava Water. Wava isn't just water, it's a whole new experience. It combines lightly caffeinated, sparkling water with binaural beats of sound frequencies and music. Together, they help boost creativity, productivity, and focus. And here's the best part. It's as refreshing as it is delicious. So, whether you're creating that perfect hairline for a client or tuning in to elevate your SMP game with the Scalp Solutions podcast, Wobble Water keeps you refreshed and ready to perform at your best. Because great work starts with great tools and great hydration. Wobble Water. Refresh your focus, boost your confidence. Find out more at wobblewater.com. Today, I want to talk to you about something crucial for your SMP business, where you get your tools. It's not just about having the right tools, it's about getting them from a source you can trust. And that's why I recommend Palms Fashion. Palms Fashion has been serving professionals since 1991, right here in the heart of New York City. As a family-run business, they've built a reputation for providing new and authentic products to licensed professionals around the world. And now, they're taking it a step further by offering scalp micropigmentation supplies so you can get everything you need in one place. They're an official distributor of the biggest names in the industry: Andis, Wall, Babyliss, Stylecraft, Ink You Care, and more. These are the brands we trust to deliver flawless results, and Palms Fashions ensures you're getting genuine products with full warranties, plus S&P supplies you need to keep your business running smoothly. Your tools and supplies are an investment in your craft and your success as an S&P artist. So don't just buy from anywhere. Trust the experts at Palms Fashion. Whether you're in New York City or shopping online at palmsfashioninc.com, they've got everything you need to take your business to the next level. Remember, trust the best, trust Palms Fashion.
Do you feel like this kind of marketing would mislead the clients about what the SMP industry is truly about, and how so?
Yeah, I think what it does is it misleads people into thinking that this is something that you're going to make a ton of money with out the gate. And I know that seems redundant to my last question, but this isn't something that you're going to make a ton of money with out the gate. This is something that requires a ton of attention, a ton of confidence, a ton of going through adversity. It's not something that you're going to attain and learn quickly. So I really like to shed light on that because I hear all these stories, all these success stories of how they seen different signs and how things just kind of came together for them. Things didn't come together for me. I had to work my ass off to make things somewhat feasible, and barely things are starting to fease after so long in doing it.
What advice would you give new SMP artists who are getting into SMP for the wrong reasons, like chasing money and instead of focusing on the
So
craft?
if you think that you're going to make a bunch of money doing S&P, guess again. It's actually going to cost you a lot because if you go into S&P for the wrong reasons, it's going to have a direct correlation on the work. And these people are not playing about their look. People will sue you. People will want their money back. So if your heart isn't in the right place, I recommend that you do a self evaluation, a check, if you would, because if you're looking to get rich quick, I recommend you maybe sell something else, a legal substance, but or something else other than trying to do S&P. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, it's gonna cost you a lot out the gate. And with that, I want to kind of give some advice. I don't want to come onto your podcast and seem like I'm ranting, raving. I want to truly give these listeners some something to take home. And one of the biggest takeaways I think is up and beyond, that portion, some advice that I can offer to these newer artists is start small. I wanted to have a nice ass location out the gate. I wanted to be on the main street. And what that did is it made me backwards. And the reason why it made me, yeah,
Set you
because now
back.
I had this overhead of this nice building and I didn't even have a fucking client walking through the door. So piece of advice is think small. And when I say think small, invest your money in marketing. Rent out a room. There's this website, I forget, where you can rent out a salon, a space such as mine by the day. Do that. and then invest your money into the marketing and in the educational components. I'm a big believer on continuing your education. Even how long I've been doing this, I just recently took a class with Steven Gretzker on how to use the reclaim. um, I wanted to hear it directly from the horse's mouth. So continue your education. That's why I'm saying this isn't going to make you money right out the gate. This is still costing me money. I'm barely seeing that return after, all this investment in terms of education. Keep in mind, I've invested with Bryce Cleveland. I've invested with Good Look Inc. The educational investment has been grand for sure.
How important do you think that authenticity, because you're talking about the marketing, now that we're on that, right? How important do you think that authenticity is in marketing yourself as an SMP artist, and how do you personally stay authentic in your
What I've
brand?
noticed is, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, David. I think you've seen me through my infancy. You've known me not necessarily on a personal level, but we followed each other on social media for quite some time. I would like to think you have seen a bit of growth on my end. And initially, I'm not gonna lie, I look at some of my earlier promotionary videos. I think I do have one where I was a bit flashy. And I look back at it, I erase it, I throw it out. I'm like, damn, what the hell was I thinking? And so to answer your question, how I remain true to myself is I found myself not recently, but in telling my story. When I tell my story, when I tell my people that, like, dude, I was worried I was gonna fuck this guy's head up. I messed this one dude up. I fixed it. This is what I went through. I had to pay for his laser. I fixed it. I went and did this. And then when I started telling my people the real stories of stuff that I actually went through, that's when people were inboxing me like, dude, yeah, I heard about that story you were telling. Dude, that made me feel so much better because I'm going through it right now. Do you mind if I call you real quick? What's your thoughts on this? So I started to realize that once I started to be true in terms of what I was facing, people gravitated toward me. They wanted to talk to me. They wanted to hear my story. So to answer your question, being true with what I'm going through, or being transparent what I'm going through, and maintaining that transparency even to this day, is what I feel that has really grasped the attention of readers and viewers on social media. People, potential clients wanting to come in for consults, are like, hey, this guy's pretty real. He's not one of these fake ass, flamboyant, showy type of guy that irritates anybody, especially in this time and day. Let's be honest, we're in some tough times here. You know what I mean? So playing that role when really we're just the people that dot people's heads is foolish. It's stupid, and it's almost cringy. And I kind of want to slap myself for even pushing myself or even playing into that any in the slightest bit.
So you you ask, and there has been some obvious growth, right? Like, you're a victim of the, like, well, this is how I should conduct myself. Now I have to ask you, was yet yesterday you posted a photo of yourself. Was this you kind of like taking a shot at yourself, or like looking back at it and going like, yo, who's this? Like, who is this guy right here? You know what I mean? Was that kind of like when you posted that, what was your mindset in that post? Was that a like, yo, this is who I am?
Laugh,
Or was it a like, yo, wow, look at what I've
laughing
evolved
at my
from?
growth. I look back at some of the shit, the pictures, the shit. I'm just like, what the fuck was I thinking? And it's not what the fuck I was thinking, is you didn't get slapped by real life yet. Once you get slapped by real life, that humbles you real quick, real quick.
I you know what? This is a perfect opportunity. Let's get into the story, how our friendship even evolved, right? So let's, because it's that photo I never knew existed, first of all, until I saw it yesterday, right? And I was just kind of like, oh shit. I figured, I was like, this is Tobias, taking shots at himself. I don't know if you follow me on social media to the point where you see I always post a funny video of someone dancing, and I put when the
Yes,
client
sir.
pays in cash. All right. So I took your photo and I made it into a meme, but I was like, let me I was like, let me run this
Oh,
by
absolutely.
Tobias
Roast me.
first. And if he
Roast
goes,
me. Go
yo,
ahead.
Dave, no, but it's not even roasting you, bro. What I wrote on it was, I wrote, when the client pays in cash, dot dot dot, in full caps, all the time. I was like, all the because, so that for those who are just listening, well, you're not going to be able to see this on YouTube either. the photo is of you. You're sitting down in a desk. I believe you're in Johnny Dang's office, which is like a big jeweler, and you got the double Rolex watch going on, bro. And you just
Slap
like,
me.
and
Just
listen,
slap me. Just
it's a
slap me,
great
man. Go
photo.
ahead.
No, listen, great photo, brother. And before I even like, I'm not even trying to say like it was a bad photo. I remember asking you because when we met, let's get into the whole this is gonna make a full circle, guys. If you're listening, trust me. When I met you at Matt Ayulo's networking event for the Meeting of the Minds, I came up to you, right? Because I was shaking everybody's hand. And I shook your hand. I introduced myself. I knew who you were. And you were like, yo, I got a bone to pick with you. And I was like, really? What's up? You were like, you said something on your podcast and you posted something and you were talking about SMP artists about where they getting these fake Rolex watches because you wanted one. And I looked at you, even though I had no idea what the hell you were talking about. But I do remember saying that. And I asked you, I was like, well, do you wear a fake Rolex? And you go to me, you go, yeah. And I looked at you and I was like, all right then. So like, yeah, like that was to you. But then, like it was like a quick laugh. And then I was like, but all jokes aside, brother, I did not say that to you. And I told you this is exactly who I said it for. And if you felt any offense to it, the whole like I apologize, but it wasn't towards you. And then right then and there, it was done and over with. And you were like, yo, bro, I was salty, bro, because I felt like you were
Yeah, no,
calling me out,
I'm gonna be honest with,
on,
yeah,
on
I'm gonna
that
be quite
photo.
honest with you, David. I unfollowed you, I unfriended you after you made that post. I was like, that guy, you know what I mean? When I see him, I'm gonna tell him something. So, for the listeners, this is an example of what I'm talking about. When you're in that headspace, when you're in that negative headspace, it's easy to become insecure. And David wasn't even talking about me. He had mentioned something about these artists wearing these fake Rolex. And at the time, I had posted that picture. And the story behind that is I had an opportunity to tattoo or SMP one of Johnny Dang's workers' assistants. So after that, given that we were in Houston, he gave me an opportunity to visit their Sharpstown location, which isn't their main store, by the way. Their Sharpstown location's a little bit it's a little bit lower of a location, but um, I ended up buying a watch from there, and we took that picture, and then you had posted that about a month later, and that's just an example of how this industry can make you insecure and just make you bitter and sour, almost hater like. So it feels good to bury the hatchet with you, David, because gosh, look at where we're at now.
Yeah, we hung out all weekend, bro. We chilled, sat next to each other, cracked some jokes. It was great, man. And I like what this has evolved into. And not only that, it's turned into a hell of a fucking story, bro. And again, I'm gonna tell you, like, I commend you for being so transparent and being willing to share your story and how this form of marketing like turned you into a monster that you obviously didn't even want to become, but you just felt like, hey, this is what everyone's doing. This is what needs to be done. And now look at you today. Now you're an artist taking the fucking stage, winning Hard Hairline. You're not even from fucking New York. That shit should have came home to New York and went to some
In the
dude
mountains.
in
Some dude
Colorado.
in the middle of the mountains. I
and,
don't know, dude. With that fake ass
and
Rolex.
the fucking guys. Oh man, that's awesome. So Tobias, for those of us that are just starting out, right? What should we focus on if we want to build a long-lasting career in SMP? Because you've been doing this since 2017, brother. And from my understanding, it hasn't been a roller coaster ride for you, brother. Like you've been like at a steady, like, yo, I'm not winning, and then boom, it just picked up.
Yeah, I think
What a what's the key?
a couple of
What do we
different things,
need?
man. I feel that number one, staying true to your approach. Staying true to your approach and having an ethical approach, I think, is key, number one. Number two, I know this seems cliche, I know this seems ugh, but having that belief in that higher power, when you're putting that good energy in your work and doing things for the right reason, the higher power is going to recognize that. And in time, things will work out for you. And I'm living proof. I'm a kid from the north side of Denver. I don't come from much. So if I'm able to do it, if I'm able to achieve this, I want to offer a bit of you can do it too. If my dumbass can do it, I promise you, you can do it too. So stay true to your approach. Network. Meet people that are on the same wavelength as you. Attend industry events. Find somebody that's going to support you in your education. Continue your education. Never stop learning. The moment you feel that you know it all, that's when you got a thing coming for you. So to answer your question, networking, continued education, ethical approach, and having that belief in that higher power, whether it's God, whether it's Buddha, whatever it may be, energy, yin and yang. That's why I have the mural on my studio here. It's two hummingbirds, one's a darker, one's lighter. They kind of have this yin and yang thing. And I'm a big believer in what you put out is gonna come right back in. Much love to Chad Bolsinger on that, by the way.
Dope. So the hummingbirds have nothing to do with you being like a bird, like
No,
into
no,
bird watching
no,
and
no.
shit like that. No,
Energy,
no.
energy. You give what you get, kind of thing.
That's awesome, bro. What I was looking for was, but I can't remember the name, so I was like, I don't want to kill the punchline. But there's a what's the movie that they like gotta they're like fighting each other for their own towns. It's like with a female, and then she gets like on fire. Um, damn it, what is her name? That they go like, I give myself in tribute or something
I
like
don't know.
that.
I have to brush up on
I
my
don't
on my
remember the name of the
movies.
movie. Shit, it's a good movie. It was a hit, bro. There was like a whole series of it, but like her logo was like a
But
bird. You know what I mean? So
I
she
ha-
was like a warrior. So I was gonna say, like, does it have to do with that? Like, are you into like the movie series? But I was like, nah,
no,
I'm
no,
just
no. To be
all
quite
right,
honest
cool.
with you,
Let's
David. So to kind of go a little bit back, the mural was done by Chad Bolsinger, a great artist out here. But Chad, when I owned Ramon's Aesthetic Barbershop on 525th Street in the Rhino District, he actually did a mural for me there, and he's really close with the Lord. I don't believe in prophets, but if anybody was to be a walking prophet in this day and age, I really say Chad Bolsinger is. So when he did the mural in my location for my barbershop, he did an awesome prayer. And then when we opened up Scalpro in 2020, amongst the COVID epidemic, he came in and laced this mural and did an awesome prayer, man. He's I always remember that day. He always that day he told me that this is going to be a place of positivity, a place of community. So I've always tried to withhold that in my approach. I have an open door policy. Come check me out. 4390 Tennyson, heart of the Highlands in Denver, Colorado. Come check me out.
put your skis on, get your wolves in your sled. I'm up the hill. Nah. So I want to kind of just I don't want to get too much into the hard hairline again, but I can only imagine that you've received like some sort of like challenges or like your peers, right, have like kind of called you out on the bold hairline style, right? How did you handle that? Because we all get it, right? Like, oh, I don't like the hairline; it doesn't look natural. And there's always someone that doesn't even live in this country, has no idea
No,
about the culture.
I get
How do
it.
you
I get
handle
it
that?
completely. And what's ironic is now that I've, done a good amount of the hard hairlines, I've really taken a grown or a liking to the softer hairlines and something I really enjoy now because I feel that it's actually harder than the hard hairline to achieve that natural realism. So that's something that I'm always trying
Yeah,
to challenge myself. So some of the things that I like to tell people is it's like you have to understand that you're not in the same community region as me. And so I spoke on this a bit earlier. When you're in Houston, you have to understand that the population isn't always going to be a softer, more, natural approach. More often than not, it's going to be more linear. And given that I have a liking or I have that barbering background, I oftentimes like to highlight that. So when I tell people, they're like, oh, you only do hard night lines or what? You don't do no softies or no, I do some softies, but you have to understand that it wasn't until recently that the softies have become appealing to me. I felt like the hard hairline was something in order to achieve the symmetry was difficult, and I wanted to show off that aspect. But now that I feel that I got a handle on that aspect, I really want to show off that softer approach. So really recognizing and bringing to the attention the population where I'm at and my culture. I come from a different neighborhood, so naturally some of the people that I've known throughout the years, they're probably going to gravitate to me for that more linear cultured look. So just keep that in mind of who I am, my background as the barber, and in addition to where I'm located, my region. It's not necessarily that I favor one or the other. It's just where I'm located and who I see.
Looking at the future of SMP, where do you think the industry is heading, and what are some of the trends that you're excited about or
One of the
concerned
things
about?
that I'm excited about is some sort of change in the regulation of training. I've recently worked with Valerie Weber with the micropigmentation educators. She's got an awesome approach to training, and it's something that I truly identify with. So, to answer your question, the nuance of a true training that's actually going to give the student an opportunity to actually become my competitor. Number two, I think I'm excited to see the trend of SMP to continue to grow. In my opinion, this is something that's not new, but in my opinion, it still hasn't hit mainstream. And it's not until Vin Diesel, one of those guys, gets it that it's really going to blow up. So I'm excited to see who's the first or one of, not that any celebrities don't have it. I'm not saying that. Ricky Bell has it. But I'm saying one of these more mainstream actors like The Rock. He got it, someone like that, and then to see who did it. So I'm excited to see the growth, not only of the community, but the artists as well.
For the artists that are listening today, what's one piece of advice you'd give them about staying grounded and building a career based on passion and skill?
Awesome question. Awesome question. I think one of the biggest ways to stay grounded in your approach is to recognize your population, recognize who you're working with. These are people's livelihoods, these are people's insecurities. So constantly having that check within your mental check that, hey, I'm here to change somebody's life, not to make money. Obviously, I'm here to make a dollar, but at the same time, the most important aspect is to change someone's life for the better. And that goes into that energy, that yin and yang that I was telling you about.
Outstanding, brother. Let the listeners know where they can connect with you,
You know,
Tobias.
the industry, in my opinion, it's more found on Facebook. Obviously, we have a presence on Instagram, but in my opinion, the presence is really found on Facebook. So I encourage you to follow me on Facebook. Keep up with all my ridiculous posts, my memes. I may even roast myself later on this week from one of these videos that I have found in my archives. Okay, so follow me on Facebook. If you want my personal number, reach out to me. If you want to call me and say, hey, dude, I'm worried about this guy. What should I do? Or do you have any advice? I'm kind of struggling with my business right now. Let's talk. Let's talk about it. I promise you, after you talking with me, you'll leave feeling a little bit better in the sense that there's hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel, and it's possible. Like I said, if I can do it, you can do it too. It just takes a bit of time. It takes a little bit of motivation. It takes a little bit of resilience. But I promise you, if you stay true to that approach, David, it will happen for you. I'm living proof.
Words of the wise man himself, baby. Tobias, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for jumping on the podcast, man, dropping some gems, letting us into your world, man, your struggles and to lead into where you at now. Like I said, I know I've said it earlier, I probably said it like 2 or 3 times, but what you've done today, very few would be willing to do. And I've tried to extract that from other artists, and some of them are willing to just give a little and not really talk about the true frustrations and struggles that they've underwent in their transformation to becoming a successful SMP artist. So again, I appreciate you, bro. And I'm sure everyone who listens to this podcast is going
I
to appreciate
appreciate
you.
you more than you know. Thank you for the opportunity, David. Thanks again.
For sure, brother. Guys, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Scalp Solutions podcast. One more time, a big thank you to Tobias Romero coming from the mountains of Denver, Colorado. Until the next time, folks. Peace.
What's up, everyone? David Santiago here. Let's talk about taking your SMP business to the next level with Guild Payment Solutions. Cash is king, but what happens when your client doesn't have cash? That's where a reliable credit card processing solution comes in. With Guild Payment Solutions, you can securely accept cards, manage transactions, and get paid faster, whether you're running a studio or selling products online. It's more than just convenience, it's a business upgrade. Credit card processing builds trust, keeps your finances organized, and ensures that you'll never lose a paying client. Don't hold your business back. Visit guildpaymentsolutions.com today and see how they can transform the way you operate your SMP business.